Hi everyone, my name's Rayna. We have another video for you today from Autism Services for Teens and Young Adults. Today we're going to be talking about how employment can help with your child's mental health and some of the things you can do to help get your child started in that process. So just a little bit about who we are. We are a service for autistic teens and their families to help kind of get them ready and prepared and feeling good about being independent, being out in the world, growing up and adulting, as they say. We're occupational therapists, so contrary to popular belief, we don't just work with occupations. For us, occupations means anything that occupies your time. But today we're specifically going to be talking about work and employment. So there's a lot to talk about, so we'll get started. Why are we qualified to talk about this? Well, we are healthcare workers, but we also have specific training in the brain, in human development, and in adapting tasks and analyzing tasks to understand how we can help our clients be able to complete the things that they need to do more easily. So we're going to talk about some ways that things can maybe be adapted, changed, things you might not have thought about in your child's job search, and we'll go ahead and get started. So when it comes to work, even though, you might not enjoy getting up and going to work every single day, I think most of us don't, and that's okay. But I think we're all inherently, we want to feel like we're contributing and like we have skills to offer other people. And that's just human nature. And so in that sense, working can be a really great boost for someone's mental health. We know that developmentally at the age of about 14 to 24, that's when young people are really developing a sense of identity. They're looking to the future and trying to kind of figure out where they want to go in life. And so that might be where your child is right now. Not everyone is on the same timeline, of course, and that's okay. But it's really a time where it can be confusing and frustrating because your child might be comparing themselves to other people their age who are getting jobs, who really know what they want to do in a career. And so it's a good idea to just remind your child, first of all, that everyone's on a different path and that comparing ourselves to others is not always productive. But it is a time where, if that's something they're thinking about and they want to do and jump into, this is a really great time to help support them through that process. So the downside is that because there's a lot of comparison, there's a lot of feeling different, feeling othered, feeling like you're falling behind in life, maybe because of an autism diagnosis or because of just different challenges you might face, that can lead to depression and anxiety. So this is a really good thing to get ahead of and be aware of when your child is going into this age group. In our culture, especially, we're a very work heavy culture. I think we value hard work, and that's part of our values as a culture. So to not have that is can be a source of confusion, frustration, like I said. Even just having that first job, being able to, have some money and go do things on your own, or be social and be around other people, that's a huge benefit of having a job. It can provide stability. It can teach a lot of self-confidence. If you're doing well at your job, you might feel like, okay, if I can do that, I can do anything. I can do this other hard thing that I've been scared to do. And again, it provides that opportunity for meeting new people, for learning social skills. So these are all really good things to think about in terms of why do you want a job. You might not need a job financially, or you might need one, but there are a ton of other benefits to having a job. So one really interesting fact, and something that is pretty unfortunate, is that according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, only 21% of people with disabilities, that includes people with autism, are employed. And it's kind of tricky to find good statistics on this, but we have some evidence to show that people with autism have better success in the workplace when they disclose their disability to their employer and collaborate with that employer to identify reasonable accommodations. So accommodations are provided, they're required by law to be provided to anybody with a disability who's working and or in school. And so the great thing about disclosing is just being able to recognize, or to have your child recognize, their own strengths and areas of challenge. So if they can go to their employer and say, hey, I'm really excited about this job. I might need to wear earplugs during the day to manage the noise that I'm taking in, because that can stress me out. Something like that is a really simple conversation, and it might not be simple right away. It might be kind of hard to get used to having that conversation, but that's something you can work on, and just a quick, easy solution that you can give to the employer to help them understand how to make you more successful in the job. So as your child is starting this process of looking for a job, getting a job, it's a great thing to try and just workshop with them what they might need and teach them to advocate for themselves. And then another great thing you can do is engaging in a vocational rehab program. The state would have this program, so you can reach out to the relevant organization in your state, and they can provide job support and training and kind of help match your child up with a good job. Those are great support systems to start. In terms of finding the right type of employment, that can be a tricky place to start, because you might not know, your child might not know what they want to do, and you can definitely help support them with that too. There's a lot of great resources out there to help people find what they're interested in. There are vocational quizzes and checklists. We actually have another video about finding a good job for you, so go and watch that if that's something you're interested in learning more about. But another thing to keep in mind is just that job opportunities can really come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. So you could start with a volunteer position, have your child try out something they think they're interested in, and that volunteering can be kind of a low stakes way to get their foot in the door, see if they like it. Maybe it's less of a time commitment, it's less scary, and that can be a really good place to start. You can also do internships, part-time jobs, just something that's not so intimidating at first, rather than a full-blown full-time job. There's apprenticeships. You can shadow somebody at their job and ask if your child can, tag along and observe with them. And this can also be a great way for your child to practice some of those soft skills, like asking people, emailing professionally, asking people if you can, or if they can go shadow them or do a volunteer opportunity. So these are all really good ways to build up those foundational skills. And then, as I was saying, really, really important to educate your child, your teen, about their rights. So again, providing reasonable accommodations is, by law, it's required to anyone who works with a disability or anyone in college or at school. So please take the time to educate your teen about their rights, and you can talk to them about, what accommodations do you think you might need. We also have a really good video about the law that covers this, which is ADA and reasonable accommodations, if you need help finding more ideas about what that means. And then how to disclose a disability, or if you want to do that or if not. And then questions that are off limits during the interview process. You can help your child by role-playing through an interview. There are a ton of resources out there, and we do have a video about that. Okay, so another thing you can do to get started is to identify barriers to employment. So in general, autistic people just generally have face challenges getting employed in our country, in the United States, that is. But what is it about your child specifically that might be a barrier for them? Because there's a ton of different reasons why they might feel there are barriers. And once you kind of understand what those barriers are, it can be easier to find a job that fits and is a good match for those barriers. And then it can also help to, again, kind of a broken record, to find out what accommodations you might need or your child might need to ask for. So is it motivation? Is it fatigue? Is it emotional dysregulation? Do they, get really frustrated about certain things? Or do they get burnt out because they're just going, and they are not taking breaks? Things like that. If you know that already, how has that affected them in the past? And what kinds of things can you provide to make that process easier in the future? Do we need to have a job that's maybe less person-facing? Do we need to have a job that is not in such a loud, chaotic environment? Things like that can be a really great place to start. It's really awesome to help your child build habits that kind of work on these traits. So, for example, if your child is just disorganized, and a lot are, you can start by helping them to use a planner, to use electronic reminders on a phone or on an iPad or something like Alexa, something like that. Timers and alarms are always just classics. And then you can also review the Job Accommodation Network. Can't recommend this highly enough. This website has the best ideas for accommodation examples that might work for you and your child. They just have lists of things that you might want to try that might work. So it's jan.org, Job Accommodation Network, if you want to just search for that. And then if you want to try and implement these accommodations now, just in your own life, with your teen, you can, and that can help you understand if it's working, if it's not, and kind of workshop it together. Like, if I'm taking more breaks, is that helpful to me? That's a really helpful lesson for your child to learn before they get into the job. Okay, lastly, you can always consider getting outside support. So we're a little biased, but occupational therapists are one route you can go. You can hire an OT to help your teen develop their kind of future plans, workshop through some of those challenge areas, and OTs can really, the range of what we can do is very wide. So we can talk to employers, the employer that your teen is interested in working with, and try to figure out if there are solutions there that might be helpful. We can help practice new skills with your teen and identify those accommodations that I keep talking about. So yeah, this is a lot of ideas, but just taking one or two of those things and starting there, seeing kind of what's working well for your child, what's not, helping them advocate for themselves, and really just understanding why they want to work, and kind of getting them excited about the reasons why working can be a great thing, are all excellent places to start. So it doesn't matter where you start, just doing one little thing can be massive and create a huge difference in your teen's life and in their future as an adult. So if this was helpful, please like and subscribe the video. Thanks so much for watching. Visit our website for more blogs and videos on helping your teen with autism tap into the workplace. Thanks, everyone. Bye.